Hello everyone, I hope this finds you doing well on this Tuesday. We are tonight having a small informal worship time, our artful and prayerful worship in the church parlor at 6. And if any of you want to join us, I would invite you to that. But I hope that during the season that you're doing some things that are meaningful to you, whatever those are. If it's listening to different music or reading different scripture, or sometimes it's just reading a different book that helps you through this Lenten journey and kind of gives you a way to draw your heart closer to God. Definitely on Sundays, we've been working on this theme of drawing our hearts closer to God. And this week we're talking about how we say we're sorry, how we look for forgiveness. So for those of you who are here on Sundays, you'll see our painting has changed again. And now on that black sinful road that was leading to the cross, you'll see that we've added white. That we've added that sign of we're forgiven, we're made new again. And around the hearts that we added last week, we've added white because our hearts have been changed. There's still that part of us that's still that pink part where we're imitating God, but we're also that white part where we're sorry, God, and we're continuing to do better, and we're continuing to work. And in thinking about that idea of our trials, I wanted to share with you, I get these wonderful devotions, y'all, on my phone, and sometimes I think, God, how did you know exactly what I needed to hear today? But I know He knew, and so did a couple other thousand people get the same devotion, but somehow it speaks to me. So I want to share this one with you today because I thought it was particularly wonderful. It's called Marrying Your Trial with Your Talent, and it's based on a book by Sheridan Voysey called The Making of Us. And he has this beautiful picture of someone sitting by the ocean on the rocks, and it says, "But to each one of us grace has been given as Christ apportioned it." Ephesians 4:7. And here's what he said. He talks about in his writing, he started to think of some of the great artists and how their lives weren't perfect, just like ours. And so I want to share some of his thoughts on this as we journey toward the cross, as we journey our hearts closer to Easter. Here's what he says. Think about the painter Degas, for example. He suffered from retina disease for the last 50 years of his life. I didn't even know this. He had to switch from using paint to pastel because the chalk lines were easier for him to see. What about Renoir? He had to have brushes placed between his fingers when arthritis made them clench like claws. I didn't know that one. And what about Matisse? When cancer surgery left him immobile, he turned to collage, getting assistants to attach colored pieces of paper to a larger sheet fixed on the wall. Now here's the thing. The result of each of them was a new creative breakthrough. Degas' Blue Dancers, which are my favorites, and 2 of them hang on my bedroom wall. Renoir's Girls at the Piano, Matisse's The Sorrows of the King, and other masterpieces came about from these change of practices for each one of these artists. The melding of their trial with their talent brought something new into existence. And then he lists some other examples. Think of Maya Angelou. I'm sure you know who she is. She found her writer's voice by combining her experiences of poverty and racism with her poetic gifts, and man, did she do it beautifully. What about Joni Eareckson Tada? She's one of my favorites. She combined her horrific experience of quadriplegia with a gift of encouragement, and she went on to start a whole new ministry called Joni and Friends, which helps people all over the world. I love her story. And what about Chuck Colson? After being incarcerated from his part in the Watergate scandal, he used that humbling experience, and this writer says, and it should have been humbling, combined with his leadership abilities to start an amazing organization called Prison Fellowship, which has changed the lives of inmates and their families everywhere, and probably changed his too, wouldn't you think? What trial have you faced? What deep pain? What deep difficulty? And then he says, you can mine it, and he lists a whole bunch of things that could be hard for you: emotions, experiences, questions, lessons, empathy, and sometimes the doors that are opened for us. Now marry it with our talents, or those God-given gifts and strengths, and start to imagine what those two could birth together. Start to imagine what new books, artworks, poems, policies, blogs, podcasts, ministries could be rebirthed as a result of bringing those two things together. Our trials with the talents and gifts God has given each of us. What an interesting thought as I started to think about all the things that have happened in my life, the good and the bad. They've shaped who I am. They've shaped who I am as a person, as a mom, as a teacher, as a pastor. And they've helped me become who I am today. I look back at my own life and I think about how God has married those trials, those hard times in my life, and He has used them with the gifts that He's given me to serve Him better. It was just an interesting thought today as I read that. I often don't share the one I got the day of, but this one, y'all, it spoke to me. I hope it speaks to you. As we walk this season of Lent, as we walk this journey, our lives should be changed. Our hearts should be changed. As part of our sermon series, we're looking at how our hearts grow closer to God, which is what we do at Advent. It's also what we do at Easter, at Lenten time. I think that the way that the church year, look at the calendar, is organized into different sets, different units of time. This season of Lent goes a step further from the season of Advent. Advent prepares us for arrival, but Lent prepares us for the journey after, the journey beyond the cross, because we're Easter people. It doesn't stop at Easter for us. It goes on into ministry and into service. So I hope that as you're walking through Lent, you think about, what are my trials? Okay. And what are my talents? What are my gifts that God is giving me today to use in ministry? And a ministry doesn't have to wear a hat, a formal hat, like I'm a pastor, or I'm a deacon, or I'm a Sunday school teacher. Ministry happens wherever you are. It happens in your workplace. It happens in your home. It happens when you go shopping and you go on a mission trip. It happens when you fill up with gas and how you interact with the people at the gas station. Ministry is part of our everyday life. It should be for us as Christians. So my hope today is that you're thinking carefully about how God is using your own trials and your triumphs in your life, and He's mixing that with your talents and your gifts to give you a unique way to serve Him that nobody else could do, because you matter. Everybody on the other side of the screen, look, I can't hug you. I could though, right? Here, I'm hugging you. You matter. You matter to God. Your ministry, it matters. So whatever it is that you're doing today, stop. Think for a few minutes. Think about, what is your ministry? What is it that you do as you walk through Lent, as you serve, as you minister with others? I wish you well. I hope you might choose to come to some of the Lenten lunches. I believe we're going to St. Andrews this week. Should be fabulous. I hope you'll join us at noon on Wednesday. You might decide you want to add yoga. I sent one call and said, add yoga. That would be a great new Lenten practice. It's at 9 o'clock on Thursday. Or come to Bible study at 10 on Thursday. Or come to worship. Or find a group somewhere, anywhere, that is a Christian group that is worshiping and learning and growing. That's what I hope you're going to do this week and during Lent. We love you. Your church family prays for you. I pray for you, and I hope you're doing well. Be safe, and we continue to pray for those in those flooded areas. We continue to collect here at church. There's an actual number you write on your check. So if you wanted to give in a way that you knew 100% the money was going to go to help people with flood relief, drop a check off at church, and Shelly can tell you what number to put in the box so it goes to the right place. But the United Methodist Church is responding because we love people. And we love you. And you guys have a great week. Bye.